bitches go.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Wow, Anthony Joshua just may be in trouble. Rumors are already circulating that he's having difficulty in his sparrings in preparation for the Andy Ruiz Part 2 fight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. God bless. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus below using my link. It does help the channel, and I appreciate it. Now, we unpack coming to you live. I couldn't wait to unpack this. Actually, I just got around to seeing it, and I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but I just seen this video from Fight Hub, link in the description. Go check it out, give them the view. And they're interviewing Eddie Hearns. Full disclosure, the rumor is that nothing's obviously been confirmed. I'm sure there's NDAs involved with whatever's going in sparring. But this video is going to be subjective. This is going to be my personal thoughts based on what I'm seeing and the reaction. And I actually took notes for this video so I could give you guys a proper presentation, and I don't have to paraphrase as much, and I can really use direct quotes from this interview. It's not my clip, can't play it, copyright reasons, but the link is in the description. 5-minute clip. You guys can check it out so you can hear everything verbatim out the horse's mouth. And we got to get started. This is my personal opinion. Joshua's in trouble. According to Fight Hub, he's saying that he heard rumors that Joshua is struggling, having difficulty. Now, this is not the first time we've heard this in preparation for Joshua. In fact, his very last camp, there were rumors. It was between two guys, and then more digging was done. And then it was come to find out, they said Joey DeVecco was giving Joshua all sorts of issues. He was brought into camp, similar style. Now, Joshua's side completely denied this. Joshua, oh, you guys know me. No trouble in camp, right? But it all looked to be a nightmarish type of night on June 1st for Anthony Joshua. He looked wild, nervous, playing with his gum shield, and looked fidgety and glossy, and they're massaging him. It looked like the America thing gave him a panic attack. Rumors came out that he had a panic attack. He had black eyes and cuts and marks on his face. He says it was physio, and then later changed it and said he had some tough, strong guys, lions in the camp, helping him out, which caused the marks on his face. So was it a lion in the camp, or was it physio? Or were you lying in the camp? Bars. Now, in this interview, very good interview, not too long, a question was presented. And this is a reporter, a boxing reporter, he's on the scene, in the field working. He asked Eddie Hearn to his face directly, hey, how's Joshua looking? How's Joshua looking? Because I've heard from at least two guys that Anthony Joshua is having issue with his sparring partners, meaning not doing good in sparring, right? And that's what he told Eddie Hearn to his face. That's what he claimed, right? And you see Eddie Hearn all of a sudden, and I'm going to show you guys a picture, or I might just incorporate the picture on the screen. Let me see if I can pull it up. He says to Eddie Hearn these things, and Eddie Hearn, I'll include a picture on the screen. Eddie Hearn immediately starts laughing. He starts laughing, making all these faces, typical theatrical things that we see from Eddie Hearn. What's being asked is so outlandish. To me, that's rather striking. That's rather concerning, because this is Joshua's most important fight to this date. you know, bigger than the Klitschko fight in terms of importance, because I think Klitschko was coming off a loss, and I think Joshua was the favorite to win, and he was still undefeated. So, you know, people weren't checking, and it was in his backyard, all that. Joshua must win this fight. You know, this is a crossroads, determines if he goes on and redeems himself or if he's labeled the next David Price, you know, in the Tony Thompson pair of fights. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Eddie Hearn's behavior seemed extremely weird. He's making these like Grinch faces and just start laughing. And I'm like, what's that about? You know, why would you laugh? So again, we got the notes. Nervous laugh. That was weird. And you know what? Let's jump into it. I'm not a psychologist myself, but I have studied like human behavioral science and like psychology and stuff when I was in college. I told you guys this before. Very interesting, that whole subject matter. The truth about lying and laughing. You'll see several articles. Over the years, I have tried to unravel the truth about deception, investigating the telltale signs that give a liar away. There are some pointers to the evolutionary origins of deceit. A few years ago, animal researcher Maxine Morris observed some rather curious behavior among Asian elephants. You know, I'm not going to get into this. What is the intention of deception? Right? And you'll see, I haven't, this is all live, so I haven't really read through this, but I know this is, what are the telltale signs that give away a lie? Is it possible to teach people to become better lie detectors? I devised a large scale experiment. Okay, so this is going in depth. I just want to get to something that kind of states some commonalities. You'll see a lot of this, the connection between laughing and lying. And again, this is just a subjective video, right? This is just my opinion. Connection between laughing and lying. When does laughter indicate possible deceit? Ever wonder if someone who laughs when you ask them a question is lying to you? What other reason would they be laughing? One reason is that people laugh when they're uncomfortable. You see this? This is not scripted. I didn't look at, I just typed in lying and laughing. Look at what it says. What other reason would they be laughing? One reason is that people laugh when they are uncomfortable, anxious, or stressed by being questioned. So from a psychological standpoint, again, this is just my opinion. It seemed out of place. You guys watched the video, but it seemed like that's not even a laughing matter. You know, again, I'm not a psychologist, but to me, that indicates something, because there were already rumors that Joshua got hurt in sparring the last camp. Why would you be laughing? Like when Marcos asked the question, he wasn't laughing. There was no tone. But as you guys seen in the picture that I'll put in this video, Eddie Hearn making all these faces to kind of see where you're going with this, all these scowls and stuff. You know, this is what he does. And then he just starts busting up laughing like, oh, I never heard that rumor, you know, and that was really weird. But you guys could research this further. Other times people laugh because they don't like the type of questions being asked. If you ask your partner, where's our relationship going? They might laugh to minimize their anxiety. Some people laugh when they're frustrated or angry because they're trying to calm down. A laugh could be a great way to calm down by breaking up the tension. When would laughing indicate when someone's possibly lying? When they laugh when you ask a question that isn't funny. Look at, what I just say. For example, question, did you take money out the register? Answer, why would I do that? Their laugh doesn't automatically mean that they're lying, but it is suspicious. The best thing to do is to ask follow-up questions. Okay. So you'll see in this interview is like, look at the man, bro. Like, that was a serious question. And he's acting like this is so common. Look at his face. Look at his face, bro. He's like, what are you laughing at? Bro, it seemed like an overreaction. Sometimes overreaction is my only reaction, right? Weird. Let's continue. These are direct quotes from this particular. I told you we unpack coming to you live. I'm gonna unpack this. He was asked about the difficulty sparring. Of course, Eddie Hearns denies it and denounces it. Oh no, ha 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 ha. Where'd you get that? This is the first time I've heard this rumor. Whatever. So someone told Marcos this, but whatever. He denies it, just like last time. Just like Joey DeVecco, who's also not in this camp. Why didn't you bring him back? He's built like Andy Ruiz. He's a good fighter. You had scheduled him to be on Matchroom cards, and then Murat Gassiev pulled out twice. Why not give Joey DeVecco, a chance to be back in camp and so he can make money that way, since Murat Gassiev pulled out twice. I digress. This is a quote from Eddie Hearn. Joshua, he's sparring with guys that are super, super fast, like Andrew Tubiti, who's much faster than Andy Ruiz, which, that's debatable. But, Tubiti is fast for sure. I've seen him on pads with Floyd Mayweather. He said he's difficult for him. And then you listen, this is just my opinion, voice octave inflection. See, I have to put notes to see what I picked up. He's like, he's very difficult. Like his voice is getting high. Just I want you to pay attention to this. His voice when he was saying this, he's very difficult. He says, that style is never going to be easy for a 6'6" tall heavyweight who is very upright and technical, very upright. So like people say, Joshua's stiff. He's a robot. So he's laughing at it, at having difficulty with the sparring. But then as he opens up moments later, he's basically telling you that Andrew Tubiti is giving him problems. So that seems weird. So it was a laughing matter. Let's just unpack this. It was a laughing matter when you were asked the question the first time. I told you I'm like Matlock. When you were asked the question, you just laughed at, you made faces like, where are you going with this? And then just laughed it off. Oh, those are silly rumors. But then you, out your own words, reveal that Andrew Tubiti, a cruiserweight, even though Tubiti, no disrespect to him, but he was knocked out in his last fight brutally, like a bad knockout by Dorticos, but he's still giving Joshua difficulty. These are Eddie Hearn's words. He said he's very difficult for him, but that's why we brought guys into the camp. He says he hasn't seen all the sparring, but the spars that I've seen and the latest ones, he's comfortable. Now, I put notes again so I can remember exactly what was said at what point. One thing I noticed about Eddie Hearns is when he's uncomfortable or doesn't want to answer the question, he does like a politician, where he'll start answering the question and then he'll veer off and start bringing up, oh, but Luis Ortiz, blah, blah. What does that have to do with it? Deflection, diversion tactics, and or stuttery, and then just shift to a whole different thought. That's also, to me, an indication that one could be lying and deceitful. So he says the spars that I've seen in the latest one, Joshua's comfortable. Then he changed the subject and said the guys he's sparring can't hurt him. So Andrew Tubiti's, okay, you laughed off the rumor, then you admit that Andrew Tubiti is difficult, and then you start saying something about Joshua being comfortable in sparring, and then you switch the subject after a bit of stuttering or whatever, and then switch it and say that, hey, guess what? Those guys, with head guards and stuff, like Tubiti's not strong enough. No disrespect to them, but they're not strong enough to hurt him. So none of the sparring, Derek Chisora, Bryant Jennings, none of them can hurt AJ. Okay, bro. Okay. Then Eddie Hearn says, we don't want him, Joshua. We don't want Josh to have wars in sparring. We want him to be learning and coming to terms with the style and trying to overcome that, because that is the biggest challenge. Understanding the style of Andy Ruiz, adapting and beating him. Once again, from these quotes on, these are from Eddie Hearn. Watch the video. Tell me if this sounds like a confident team. If they sound confident ahead of the Ruiz 2 fight, you let me know that. Then he says, I don't watch every spar. I've seen him spar. This is his quotes. I've seen him spar. He has good days and bad days, but he's very comfortable. Like, I don't know what this fallback word of he's comfortable in sparring. I don't know. Most guys aren't really comfortable in sparring. Like, how do you get comfortable? Like, complacent, comfortable? Like, sparring is meant to make you uncomfortable and push you and push your body and push your mind and your experience, your skill set to the brink. So this seems like a weird, almost like a fallback word. You know, I'm just doing a little psychology from what I see. He keeps saying he's comfortable. Why would you be comfortable? It's hot in the gym. You're sparring 4 different guys. You're doing several rounds. You're losing weight. You're sweaty. You're tired. You know, maybe you're hungry or you didn't eat or you ate and it didn't agree with, you know. So I don't understand how you're comfortable in sparring. Like, people don't really spar for comfort. They spar to ready themselves. Iron sharpens iron. Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence aren't sparring each other and having wars and, you know, picking each other's brain and stuff for comfort. But this is what Eddie Hearn keeps saying. Joshua looks comfortable, like whatever. He says he's comfortable in sparring and it's exciting. Then he has a long pause and developing as a fighter. He really wants to improve. He's enjoying improving and learning. Laser focus, which he is good at. If you give Joshua a job to do, a plan to focus on, you can do it. It's when he's not quite sure, that's what gives him issues. When he's not sure what to do. And he said basically that's what happened in the first fight. He wasn't experienced enough to deal with that. This time he knows exactly what he has to do to beat Ruiz. Executing it is the tough part. He knows what he needs to do, but executing it is the tough part. This does not sound confident to moi. He knows what to do, but to execute it, that's the tough part. So you said Andrew Tabiti is difficult. You're on record saying that. You said he had good days and bad days. You keep saying he's comfortable in sparring. You're saying, oh, if you give him one task, he's good at. I told you, they treat Joshua almost like a government project or a little kid or something. Like it's like they talking to it, like you have to talk to him real, like simpleton, like, you know, hey, we need you to jab 3 times. And, you know, that's how I perceive it. He literally says, if you give Joshua a job to do, a plan to, like it's almost like I have a friend who has a son who's autistic, and having that special need, she has to communicate with him different than her other child who doesn't suffer from autism. You get what I'm saying? And that's kind of what it feels like with Joshua. It's like they're treating him as if he has some kind of learning curve or something, you know? If you like, hey, you know, Joshua's good. If you just give him one task to focus on and then just that and leave him and tell him why, and, you know, and that's kind of how the relationship looked when he was being hurt by Andy Ruiz. He was talking, hey, what did he hit me with? What type of punch is this? Then Eddie Hearn goes on to say Joshua has one guy to focus on, and he's not worried about Wilder. He's not worried about Fury. So, you know, they're acting like, you know, you just heard, what was it? Tony Bellew. Why would he not want to fight Wilder and all this? Bro, this whole thing looks like it's unraveling and crumbling. So Sky Sports commentator Tony Bellew was acting like Josh still wants to fight Deontay Wilder and the best names. We may never see that fight, especially after what Andy Ruiz does. Certainly picking Andy Ruiz. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but this don't sound good. You know, now he's saying, oh, he only has one guy to focus on. Before we were getting calls to go on ESPN. It just ultimately, it sounds like Joshua can't handle all this stress and pressure. I believe in the Joey DeVecco story. Somewhere, I think there's some truth to it. I don't know exactly what happened. I believe that Joshua's dad was mad for a different reason. I believe he had a panic attack. No footage of him in the back warming up, nothing. And then you got stuff like this. He's saying, oh, we got called to ESPN Plus. And he was being asked about Wilder during fight week. But now he can focus. Like, you know, like I said, again, it's like almost like Joshua has some type of learning disorder. That's how they're treating it. Like he has ADHD or he suffers from autism or something. They're like, oh, now he could just focus on the one thing. Now he knows what to do. He was a gold medalist before. Ruiz ain't no gold medalist, you know? So how does he not know what to do? And you guys bragged about, oh, in my 15th fight, I became a professional fighter. You know, I fought Klitschko in my 16th fight, and I did this. And then they're bragging about this stuff, but then now they're acting like he's super great. He's 30 years old. They were comparing him to Lennox Lewis. He just might not be built for this, you know, ultimately. And that's just my honest opinion. Because it seems like when things get hectic, he doesn't deal well with the pressure. Last fight, he had a sports psychologist. And it seems like that's why he seems like he's reading cue cards and stuff. Where when he's talking, it seems scripted. Everyone seems to be on code saying the same thing. Oh, my 15th fight, and Tyson Wilder turned pro in 2009. I started boxing in 2008. He's just recycling the same stuff like a fortune cookie. Smash the like button. Then Eddie Hearn says, I don't think the sparring is going to tell you. Yes, it does. Sparring can tell you a lot about where the fighter's at. And then Eddie Hearn saying sparring's not going to tell you. I know it's all down to the night of the fight. Tell me if this sounds confident. These are direct quotes. I literally took the time to write direct quotes because it's new media on mine. I don't think sparring is going to tell you. I know it's all down to the night. I know he can do it. I know he's good enough to beat Andy Ruiz. He should be beating Andy Ruiz 7 to 8 times out of 10, right? No confidence there, bro. Why would it be a comma right? Why are you asking the interviewer if, like, you know, almost to agree with you? I look for this. This is the psychology. Boxing is 95% mental. He says he can do it. I know he can do it. He should be good enough. Just listen to the vernacular. Listen to the words. Andy Ruiz, 7, 8 times out of 10, he should win, right? Why not do what Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones in their prime would do and say 10 out of 10 times they're going to win, or since he lost, at best 9 out of 10 times. That doesn't sound like confident. Why would you say 7 or 8 times out of 10 he'll beat Andy Ruiz? You know, but let Joshua tell it. He says this was a minor blip. It's a blip. It's a blip. So why would it only be 7 to 8 times out of 10? Shouldn't it be 9 out of 10 at, you know, very worst case scenario, since it was just a blip? And just asking for reassurance. Yeah, he should be beating Andy Ruiz 7 to 8 times out of 10, right? But we've all lost, he said, but we've already lost one life. This is his promoter. He says he should win 7 to 8 times out of 10, but we've already lost one life because they lost to him. So can he win the next one? This does not sound, we've already lost one life. Can he win the next one? Not he will win the next one. Watch. I can't wait. December 7th, it's about to go down. That first fight was a blip. That would be like confident. He said we already lost one life, so can he win the next one? He said, I didn't watch all the sparring, you know, so it's not, I don't know how he's going to, it's not, oh, he said, I didn't watch the sparring and go, oh no, how's he going to handle Ruiz's speed? You're going to get hit. You're going to yell at people. Bro, it sounds like his camp is a problem. Why is he yelling at people? If things are going great, you know, why is he yelling at people? And why are you saying you're going to get hit? The UK, it's like they're honestly, it's looking bad, bro. It looks like another L is imminent. This is my honest opinion. It looks like it's coming. 7 reasons. Andy Ruiz beats Joshua part 2. Then host Marco said, he says, my question is this: does Joshua believe in himself? That's what it kind of boils down to. Eddie Hearn responded and says, yeah, that's the hard part. That's the hard thing to do coming off the last fight. That's why really in an ideal world, you would want to take an interim fight, like an in-between tune-up soft touch fight. But the contract don't work like that. And Anthony Joshua don't work like that. Joshua wanted this fight. Bro, Eddie Hearn sold his fighter out. This looks like it's going to be another Kell Brook. Remember what happened with Kell Brook? He was supposed to fight, Triple G was supposed to fight Chris Eubank Jr., an actual middleweight, who's back at middleweight. And it fell apart for whatever reason. and Kell Brook was supposed to fight Jesse Vargas. Far more winnable fight. Eddie Hearn said he got on the phone with Kell Brook and offered him the Triple G fight, or Kell Brook said he'll take it. So basically, horrible. Kell Brook career went off the rails after that because he lost that to Triple G, messed up his eye. Then he got his other eye messed up by Errol Spence. We ain't seen Kell Brook too much since. This is sad, bro. It's sad. I told you, this is new media. This is what I've been telling y'all from the beginning. Eddie Hearns, he made an interview talking about, it's not, some people are saying, you just want the belts back because it's the PBC belt. I said that, and he responded saying, it's not about the PBC belt, or, the belt's in Heyman's hand. Yes, it is, because he's just admitting right now that ideally, this is his words. He says that's what's going to be hard, being confident coming off of his last fight. That's why really in an ideal world, you would want to take an interim fight or a tune-up fight. He's admitting that there should have been a tune-up fight, but that's not the contract. That's not how the contract works. So what that means is they didn't have time to take a tune-up. They probably had I don't know what the contract says, but it was probably a 6, 8, or 12 month Canelo got me saying rehydration clause. It's probably a 6, 8, or 12 month rematch clause, or some select period under 12 months. So they probably felt they didn't have enough time to take a tune-up, right? And get back by that time. Plus, here's the other thing. If they decided on a tune-up, then Andy Ruiz contractually, let's say Joshua fought Chris Arreola, right? As a tune-up. He had a good performance versus Adam Kalnacki. So let's say that's who he fought. Then Andy Ruiz contractually would be free and clear on PBC to fight whom he chooses. And PBC would have made the Wilder Ruiz fight. So yeah, Team Joshua, they ran out of options. They overplayed their hand. They underestimated Andy Ruiz, and he played the goddamn spoiler. That's what happened. So yeah, that's why they pressed for an immediate rematch. They don't want this fight. They don't want it. Bro, this is a shot in the dark. They're hoping they're hoping he can get it right. They don't sound confident that they're absolutely sure he will. They're just hoping his drive and willpower and size and power can make the adjustments needed. But this sounds far from confident. If Andy Ruiz sees this video or watch the Fight Hub video, which is all public domain on YouTube for free, then he has to be confident, bro. Because it doesn't sound like Joshua's camp is like super together. I told you, I don't think Joshua has an elite camp. Like they're doing extreme things. He bulked up for the first Ruiz fight. Now he's like super small. He's posting on social media and looking sad, no haircut. It's just, man, let me continue. Eddie Hearn closed by saying it's really about the sparring, the runs, he says it's really about the sparring, even though earlier he said it's not about the sparring, but whatever. Another Eddie Hearn fib. He in the last portion of this interview, he says it's really about the sparring, the runs, the work, and what really matters is December 7th. All he's got to, tell me if this sounds confident, all he's got to do is put it all together on that night. And if he wins, if he does, he says, and if he does, he wins. But if he doesn't, he don't win. Who says that? He says all he has to do is put it together on that given night, so December 7th. If he does that, he'll win. If he doesn't do these things, then he's not going to win. But this doesn't sound confident. He said, why would there be an if? See, Eddie Hearn, he's not telling you the full story, bro. Whatever that full story may be, you're not getting the full version. Who talks like this? If Joshua was knocking out sparring partners, why would you say, I think he can beat him. I think he has the tools, or he should get it done. If he could put it together. Bro, people don't talk like that. The UK got to learn from Americans. Learn from American champs. Floyd, Roy, they'll never talk like this. I mean, most fighters. Mike Tyson didn't talk like this. But anyway, he says if he don't, he won't win. Joshua, he's got the ability and he should be winning this fight. These are his exact words. I literally typed this all up for you guys. He said, and Joshua, he should be winning this fight. It's whether he can put it all together in Saudi. Man, oh man. We unpack. That's my thoughts. I would never pick Anthony Joshua in this rematch. It doesn't sound like things are going good. He's not cutting his hair. Eddie Hearn, just watch this interview and let me know if it sounds confident, like things are confident. And once again, if I'm wrong, hey, I'll give him his credit. Like, hey, you pulled that off. But I just feel Andy Ruiz gets this, man. Some guys just have your kryptonite. Some guys just have your numbers. And I'm at the point where I feel sorry for Joshua. I feel bad. I feel bad for Joshua because just like most fighters, they don't know their own worth and they get led astray, have a bunch of yes men around, and they let promoters and different people push them into certain things that aren't advantageous. Eddie Hearn ain't a fighter, but he is a millionaire, you know. It's just going to be on to the next fighter. If Joshua get knocked out, you know, Eddie Hearns don't have to rebuild his career. I mean, it's going to hurt Matchroom, but, you know, he has other fighters. He can just try to focus on Billy Joe or Triple G. But these fighters, they get pushed led in directions. I really feel is at the bequest of Eddie Hearns to do this immediate rematch because he feels so guilty that he gave DAZN this fight and it all went to shit. You know, the whole fight was bad and the card was bad because a lot of his fighters lost or it was perceived that they lost. So now he's like, man, double or nothing. He's willing to put all the chips back in, hoping on Andy Ruiz losing or, you know, undisciplined and not. And stylistically, Andy Ruiz just sounds like he might have Joshua's number. I really believe this. And then on top of that, you have Joshua doing extremist things like worried about his weight. Looks like he's physically trying to be smaller. That's not going to necessarily give you more stamina. And when you start playing around with your weight too much, sometimes it can have an adverse effect. Your stamina could be trash and worse because your last 4 or 5 fights, you've been used to carrying 255 to 262 or whatever he's been weighing. So now that you're shrinking, that could actually affect you worse. You know, could affect you worse. You know, it's like you almost build up a tolerance to being conditioned and being able to fight with that type of weight. So it's a shot in the dark, and it seems like his team doesn't know better. So they just doing whatever they think is right. You know, and it's just too many changes. Like, I haven't seen no team change like this. Why haven't you worked with Bryant Jennings before? Why weren't you working with Andrew Tabiti when he was undefeated champion? Why weren't you working with Derek Chisora before? It's just extremely hard to not do these things ongoing and then lose and read quotes like Joshua said from Google and try to remotivate yourself and put it all together, you know, and then just start assembling the Avengers. You should have been assembling the Avengers of sparring partners before you lost. So now you're trying different stuff in camp. It doesn't even sound like it's going crazy, like good for you. Eddie Hearn's doing the nervous laugh, and there's rumors that he's hurt again. I don't know. Me personally, my channel, Boxing Ego, I've always felt this, but after watching this, it just reaffirms what I always felt. I feel bad for Joshua because if he loses, I don't see it being pretty. I see him possibly retiring. I can see him having an F.A. Ajagba opponent moment. Remember when F.A. Ajagba opponent ran out the ring? You know, I think Anthony Joshua, I don't think he's going to, like, when the bell rings, get out the ring. But I can see him getting out the ring right after, not doing a post-fight interview, you know, just being on some Ronda Rousey stuff, just disappearing, you know, when it doesn't go their way. Really. Ronda Rousey, she lost to Holly Holm, tried to come back, you know, with the similar style, another striker, powerful girl, Amanda Nunes, and then she just disappeared, you know. So I can see Joshua possibly retiring. Like I said, I'm at the point where I just feel bad for the man because he should have been given the opportunity to repair and rebuild. And now he's under the world of pressure, and I don't think he does well with pressure. You get what I'm saying? I don't think pressure is his strongest suit. you give him a fair shot of like coming back by not putting him in the Andy Ruiz, but pure greed and, you know, the need for power from Eddie Hearn in rematch room. Like, he can't stomach the fact that it happened like this. So he's like, man, oh well, I'm gonna burn my workhorse out. Like, it's like, it reminds me of the 49ers. I'll leave you guys with this. The one game we lost this season was the Seattle Seahawks. We had a rookie kicker who kicked a 47-yard field goal for us to push the game into overtime, right? Wow. We're still in the game. We needed that. Goes to OT. Then we had an opportunity where it was like 4th and 1. We could have ran it and tried to get the one, quarterback sneak, whatever. Try to get the 1 yard. Or try to win the game by kicking the field goal. The Niners made a bad decision. Instead of trying to run, which at that point we had plenty of time to get a little bit closer, maybe even get a touchdown, we would have won the game. But on 4th and 1, the 49ers elected to put it all on the brand new punter to kick another 47, 49-yard field goal. And he completely shanks it. Misses it. Boom. We don't have enough time. The game's over. That's because you put so much pressure on the man. He was already under a pressure situation as a newbie to kick the first one. And then he hit that. And then he has to kick another in OT to win the game. Another extremely long field goal. And you think that's smart? We should have just ran the 1 yard, try to get him a little bit closer. But pressure bursts pipes. Joshua, he is that kicker. He is that field goal kicker. That's what I feel. Watch the interview. Let me know what you guys think. That's my time. We Unpacked coming to you live. Feel bad for Joshua because this might not be his night again. And, you know, I don't know where he goes from there. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next videos. Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.